What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Thirsty Thursday. And as you can see, the lights are flashing here from Taylor's 15th birthday. She celebrated on Tuesday. So it's a little belated here today, but I told you all we were going to celebrate her birthday today, and that's what we're going to do. So a lot of you have already sent her happy birthday wishes, and she says thank you.
Thank you.
And yeah, so we got a pretty good night planned for this evening. And I would just like to say that before we get started, we're going to pour our choice of the night, which just happens to be one of my favorites. And it's a rather cheap bourbon, Tennessee whiskey, actually. George Dickel, bottled in bond. It's 100 proof. It's charcoal mellowed, kind of like Jack Daniels is, but it's really, really good and cheap. So that's what we're sipping on tonight. Thank you all for being here. Cheers. All right. So who all is in here tonight? I see Patty. I see Obi, Not Woodworking. How are you? Mark Wakeland. Walcott Family Works. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the live stream. There's Matt Weimer and Dick from Old Guy Firewood. Bill Irwin. WD30's in the house. How are you doing, my friend? I saw Jack go by. Tim Stout. Who else is in here? Greg Kent, Little's Lawn Care. We got a good group here starting out, 82 people in the chat right now. So welcome to everyone. So you saw on the live stream today, if you jumped on there, we've been going live a little bit from the yard, and it hasn't been too horrible. But today, Jack stopped by the yard and picked up the old corn conveyor that I was using in the beginning. And as you know, we passed that on to him, and he's going to be using that. So they did some welding on it today to put a hitch on it so he could haul it out of there. And he is now the proud new owner of that conveyor. Hopefully all the kinks are worked out for him and he will be able to use it without too many problems. So everyone's still saying happy birthday, Taylor. Real quick, if you're new here, please type new in the chat so we can all give you the proper welcome. It's always awesome to see new people that jump in here that we haven't chatted with before. And if you have a question, please type a Q or capitalize it or some way to get our attention, because sometimes the chat gets flying by and I do miss things. Taylor, when she's here, she tries to help me out to catch some of the questions that go by or something that I might miss. But I assure you that if I miss a question, I'm not ignoring you. Just put it back in the chat and hopefully we'll see it.
You have two new people.
Two new people. Curtis Ryder, how are you doing? Good to see you. Glad you're here. And who is the other one? Oh, my goodness. I don't know if I want to attempt that name. What do you think it is, Tay? I'm just going to put the name on the screen. And they say they are new, so everyone welcome. And I hope you enjoy yourself. And there's Curtis Ryder. He's also new here as well.
There's also someone else down there.
Another new one. This is awesome.
Brian Richmond.
Brian Richmond is new. Good evening from Ontario. Glad you could be here. Everything Elliott is in the house. How are you doing, buddy? Good to see you here. And Greg Prince says, hit the like button. It helps out. It certainly does. So if you haven't hit the like, please do that. Certainly helpful. All right. I'm all caught up on the chat. So we celebrated 8,000 subscribers just on Tuesday, I think it was, wasn't it, Tay?
Yep.
We bumped over the 8,000 mark. So that is a kind of a little milestone for us here. And you know, we just keep growing and people keep watching, and hopefully you all are enjoying this. So I'm very thankful for every one of you that are here, that watch the videos, that comment on the videos, and that keeps it fun and keeps me wanting to try to do my best here on the channel and keep the content coming. Mark Wakeland has a question, and he wants to know what's new with Taylor. Let's get this out of the way here now since it's in front of you.
Nothing much. I've just been up to softball. I made the varsity softball team for my school, so I just have practice every day and about 2 or 3 games a week. So.
Yeah, she made the varsity softball team as a freshman, so that's pretty exciting. Sometimes there's some unwritten rules that freshmen don't make varsity no matter what, but she worked hard all winter and was able to do that. So we're excited to watch her play and hopefully grow throughout the season and be a positive contribution to her team. So yeah, she's very, very busy with softball pretty much every day. All right, here's a question. Did you find a way to dump the wood from the IBC boxes into the trailer? I'm kind of still doing it the way that I did it in the video several months back. I did kind of perfect it a little bit, make it a little smoother operation. I kind of tip the basket over 90 degrees into the trailer, and then I pick it up with the forks on the skid loader to dump it out. So rather than trying to put the forks into the pallet and slowly tilt them over and then have to lift them up high out of the pallet to get another bite, now I just kind of knock it over, let it fall 90 degrees, and then I pick it up. And that seems to work out a little bit better. I don't really have to dump the totes too terribly often. But when I do, when people order that, I call it boiler wood. It's the chunks, it's the offcuts. It's kind of the ugly stuff that I put in those baskets. When somebody does want to purchase those, that's how I load them in the trailer. Hogs Logs is here. How you doing? Hardworking man is here. I might have missed it. Is he working tonight or does he have the night off? Not sure if you're working or not, Heath. Yeah, so everything Elliott. I've been seeing some people post some videos of those rotating forks on their skid loaders. And that's the ticket right there. But I'm not sure what capacity you need or what they cost. I'm sure they're not cheap. But yeah, like I said, I really don't have to do those too often, dump those totes in. And the option of putting everything that I process, all my firewood, into totes isn't really an option for me just because of the sheer volume of totes that I would need. So Tim has a question for you, Taylor. What position do you play?
Play first base.
She plays first base. She's a left-handed thrower and a right-handed hitter. She plays primarily first base.
And some right field.
They'll rotate her into right field every once in a while, but primarily she's at first base. There's Shibe. He says, "Happy birthday, Taylor."
Thank you.
And William Klein has a question. Would a high-low rotator work to dump the totes? I think it would. It would absolutely do the trick for sure. And if I was just using totes and all like I said earlier, all my wood was in totes, I would probably think that was a worthwhile investment to do something like that. But that's not really the case right now, so I don't think I'm going to spend the money on that. Campin Creek, how are you? In your opinion, was the bundle wrapper worth it? In my opinion, 100% absolutely. It makes things quicker. It makes it easier. It wraps it on more consistently as far as the tension, when you set the tension on the wrap. I do notice, though, when the wrap starts to get low, it loosens up a little bit, doesn't it, Tay? So you have to tighten that nut up a little bit. Taylor's been using the bundle a whole lot. What do you think about it, Tay, compared to the old bundle frame that I made?
So much better. Except one thing is he's going to put a little basket or something on there for the labels. That way we don't have to keep bedding down on the ground to pick them up to put them in the bundle.
Yeah, unless you have a little table or a stack of firewood nearby that you can put the labels on, there's really nowhere to put the labels. So you have to constantly, you wrap it 2 or 3 times, then you have to reach wherever your labels are. So I'm going to come up with something, maybe something magnetic, something like that to attach to the bundler for the labels. But yeah, absolutely, it was worth it. Will the metal bottoms on the IBC totes? Definitely much better. The ones that I get for free have the wooden pallet as the bottom of the tote, and they're free. So beggars can't be choosers for sure. And but when you're dumping them, it's certainly more helpful because I tend to bust a slat or two when I dump the wooden bottom IBC totes in the trailer. So the metal ones are definitely nice. Tony from TC's Outdoors, how are you tonight? I'm glad you stopped in. Excuse me. Michael Lewis is here. Mr. Scuba One, just to let you know, I am in the chat. I haven't heard from you in a little while. Spring is coming, my friend. And if you're still planning on making that trip, let me know. And we'll try to plan something as the date gets a little closer, and I'll try to make sure I have some logs here so that we can use that machine and showcase it a little bit. So he's got a Firewood processor. It's a Dyna. I'm pretty sure it's a Dyna. He can let you know for sure in the chat. But he's going to be traveling through and might stop by with it to the yard, and we'll process some wood with it. So that's something that's been in the works since the beginning of wintertime. He said he might be traveling through. So if that works out, that'll be pretty neat. Curtis Ryder recently got access to a ton of wood. Going to sell this year for the first time. I cut 18 inches for myself, but going to do 16 inches. What amount do you recommend I sell by the cord, face cord, etc.? Well, that depends on how much wood you think you're going to be able to make. I don't know what the climate's like in your area, but I can tell you for me, bulk wood sales, you will run out of wood quickly. It's more profitable to sell small quantities, like your bundles or your small racks, like Shibe does in his roadside stand. Or you can, if you want to sell by the face cord or third of a cord, you can do that. But if you're going to be getting into bulk firewood sales, you have to have a pretty good size inventory. And like I said, the smaller quantities you sell, the more profitable it can be for you. So I might not have answered your question totally there, but hopefully somebody else in the chat might be able to give you some more insight. That's just my personal opinion. And for me here, 16 inches seems to work really well. I cut everything at 16 inches. I just had a customer that I delivered to about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago who bought from me for the very first time. And he said that he purchased some wood from another supplier last year, and it was cut all different lengths. A lot of it was cut 18 to 20, some 22-inch long pieces. And he has a smaller stove. So a lot of it he had to cut again before he could even use it in his stove. So he was asking what the length of my firewood was. And I told him everything is approximately 16 inches. You know, that can vary up to an inch or two either way. But he was very, very happy after I delivered it and left me a positive recommendation on my Facebook page. And so I think he will be a returning customer. So I think 16 inches is a great length to cut this until you get a gauge on what exactly your customers like. I know I'm behind on the chat, but I'm trying to catch up. Old Guy Firewood has a question for Taylor. Is the Dukes your school team? Come to Durham for college and be a college Duke Blue Devil. Great school. You have the grades and the athletics. I'll give you all a tour.
The Dukes is actually my travel team, and it is like, isn't it like partnered with the college? Like,
yeah, so her team is called the Lady Dukes, and it is actually a program run by Duke University. The head coach of the softball team it's her husband, right? Mm-hmm. Her husband started the Lady Dukes program, and they have teams scattered throughout the entire country. It gives them a little bit, as they get older and they get closer to college age, it gives them access to a little better coaching scouts. It gives them access to some better tournaments to play on some nicer fields because down south they play softball year round. And obviously up here we don't get a long enough season outside to play the amount of time that they do. So this year she's traveling to Georgia twice, Virginia Beach, Myrtle Beach.
And then in November of last year, we had a tournament in Florida.
Yeah, she was in Fort Lauderdale last year. So they travel a good bit. They get access to they play a lot of showcases now rather than tournaments to try to give these girls some exposure to some college coaches that because if they're participating in this travel ball program, the assumption is that they want to play softball in college. So that's pretty cool. So the Panthers is her high school team, and she's number 6 on her travel team and number 16 on her high school team. Greg Prince says 3M strips or magnets for the bundler. I think I'm going to try the magnet route. That way, if I don't like where it's at, I can move it around.
We could actually take the box we had off our old bundler because that's metal. So you can
but if you're going to be using that, if we ever use that to make kindling or something, you have those labels too. So we'll figure something out. We'll make something that works best for that. There's Jack. Have you seen the Wolf Ridge bag bundler yet? Looks like a cool concept. I have saw that. I saw that. I think I saw it on Facebook either yesterday or the day before. But I'm still a wrap guy, and I'm not bashing the bags because they have a very nice presentation and they work well. But I think I'm stuck on the wrap. So, but yes, that bag bundler does look pretty neat. Bob Fitch says hello from upstate New York. How are you, my friend? Yeah, if the bundlers would pick the wood out of the stack and feed it to the wrapper, that would be great. That's the slowest part of making bundles, is just putting the puzzle together in that frame, right, Tay?
Yeah.
You don't want a lot of voids, obviously, and you want to try to stack it as tight as you can before you wrap it, because ultimately when you eventually move the bundle, if any pieces shift, it will certainly loosen up. That would be the equivalent to having saggy bags if you're bagging your firewood. Outdoors with this guy's running a little late. Cowboy Joy and the Rough Cuts. How you doing? Question is, how are the high C boots holding out? They're actually doing really well. They're still comfortable. I still wear them. Brunt Boots actually sent me a pair of boots also, so I've been trying them out. I really like them too. But the high C boots, I have no complaints about. The soles are staying together. I've had no problems with the laces or the eyelets. All the stitching's holding together, and I've been using them a pretty good bit and pretty rough. So I'm happy with the high C boots at this point.
Super chat in the comments, so I think you're a little behind.
All right, well, we'll catch up to it here in a second. Got another question. I don't want to miss questions because sometimes people don't put them back in there and they think I'm ignoring them, so I don't want that to happen. Rob McDonald, what is the popular opinion on wrapped versus bag bundles? I am starting to sell bundles in southeastern Ontario. Well, Rob, like I said a few minutes ago, I know I'm behind in the chat, but I'm a wrap guy. I think the advantages of doing the wrap are that it's much less overhead. Most people are going to throw that wrap away, and if they're in a bag, they're going to throw that bag away. And it costs me about 4 cents to wrap a bundle, where it costs 70 to 90 cents to bag a bundle. So the bag sometimes might be a little better presentation, but I think if you make a nice tightly stacked bundle and your pieces are cut uniformly, so you don't have any wild ones sticking out either end, you make a nice looking label to put inside, I think the wrap bundles make a nice presentation also. So that's my opinion. Everybody else in here will give you theirs. And some people like the bags for other reasons or the wrap for other reasons, but that's mine. All right. Arthur Piner, how you doing? Third Pig has a question. How is Taylor selling her bundles roadside or stores? Just in the stand for now. I actually need to build a little addition onto the stand so that we can put the kindling in there. We have let people know we have it, but I want to separate the firewood bundles from the kindling bundles. And hopefully, as people do the 3 for $20 deal, they'll grab a bundle of kindling as well.
Yeah, so I get all the money for the kindling that I make, and then for every bundle I make, I get $1. So like, if I make 25 bundles, I get like $25.
Yep. So that's the deal we have. She gets $1 per firewood bundle that she makes, and any kindling bundles that she sells is completely hers. And the kindling is just scraps that are coming out of the box wedge on the 1222. So there's a not as long as I'm splitting wood, we're going to have supply kindling for her. So that's going to work out well, I think, as long as she keeps on top of making the bundles and never runs out of her supply. All right. Trying to get caught up here. Not seeing any cues. Hey, there's Andrew, Easton Made Wood Splitters. Happy Thirsty Thursdays, guys. He's just stopping in. I'm pretty sure he's at the show. It is show season. If you didn't catch his video a couple days ago, I think he's the only wood splitting company at that show. And it's good that he was able to stop in here. Matt Weimer's out working SHA overtime. He wants us to keep him awake there, Taylor. Camping Creek has a question. Can you get a scholarship from softball or not? Yeah, you can. There's absolutely a lot of scholarships out there for softball. Some are full rides, some are, partial scholarships. D1, D2, D3 schools. It's a pretty popular thing, and it's really the whole goal of the travel program that Taylor's a part of is to get you a scholarship for softball. Oh, Easton Made Wood Splitters had the super chat. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that, buddy. Cheers. And it's good to see you here. I hope all is well. I'll be seeing you here. Well, show season has started. So I guess the first one that I'll be to that you'll be at is Boonville, which is in August. Here's another question from Everything Elliott. What is my rarest challenge coin? Well, the rarest challenge coin that I have is I'll try to keep the story short, but the Maryland State Police has a SWAT team, but they're called the State Team, and it stands for Special Tactical Assault Team Element, which is basically the SWAT team, but they made an acronym out of the word state, and they are the elite SWAT guys, basically. And they had a challenge coin that you had to be a member of the team to get. They didn't give them out to anybody else. You had to be a member of the team. But one of the guys that I worked with, had a really good relationship with, we had a mutual respect for each other. He knew how I operated and I knew how he operated, and he gave me one of those coins. Even though I wasn't a member of that team, I was honored to receive one of those coins, and they just don't give them to anybody. So I can't go into much more detail than that, but I would say that that's my rarest coin that I have. So there's a lot of them back there, and there's more that I don't have on display, but that was a pretty cool thing there for a while. Challenge coins, it comes from the military, and pretty much it's supposed to be a hand-to-hand exchange. It's a show of respect to someone if you give them your unit coin or your division coin. But here lately, it's gotten to be such a big hobby that people just order a bunch of them and they put them online to sell. So kind of some of the nostalgia and some of the whole meaning behind the challenge coins has kind of gone away. So most of the coins that I have on display here are coins that I've actually received hand to hand from somebody. What? Heath got a new tractor today. I haven't seen that yet. I'm going to have to check that out. What did he get? Maybe it's already been said, but I haven't seen it yet. Oh, York Firewood, I got your message a little too late. I didn't call you back because you obviously were already through the area, but Ken was coming through the area last week and reached out to me, gave me a phone call. I didn't answer, and he left a message and said he was coming through the area. He was going to stop by and help out in the yard, but I don't know what I was doing at that point in time, but when I got the message, it was too late. But we'll catch up again soon, my friend. I wish I would have been around to hook up with you. Digger, first time chat, still cutting and splitting at 70 years old. How's your Easton Made elevator running? I have had zero problems with the Easton Made elevator conveyor. The only thing that I did learn, and Jeff kind of from Mountaintop Outdoors kind of gave me a clue on this. As you're running, some of the small, fine debris can get built up underneath at the bottom. So what I did was I just took a 4x4 block and put it underneath the bottom part of the frame. And it gives me just enough space to get a garden rake in there. And every so often, maybe once, maybe twice a day, I'll just jump over there with the rake and pull all that out of there so that it's not building up. But no problems at all. I mean, it's running great. He's got that thing figured out. JDS wants to know if I sell smoker wood too. I do. I don't advertise it a whole lot, but when people call me, I will ask them what they're looking for. If they want it split a little smaller, I will do that for them as well. Obviously, if I'm resplitting wood, it increases the cost a little bit, but most of the smoker wood that I sell is either cherry or hickory. I had a customer call the other day looking for apple wood, and I just don't get, I've never had apple wood. So I wasn't able to provide it to. I know apple's a very popular smoker wood because it's a very mild smoke. It doesn't give it a super smoky flavor. So a lot of people ask for that. I just don't have it. So Bill wants to know how Brady's chips are selling. I've actually got about 15 or 20 bags of them sitting right here next to me. And we've tried out a couple. We've given one or two away. And that's about all I have to report at this point. We were trying to build up a little bit of a supply before we advertised them so that we didn't run out. But now that he's got, a couple dozen bags here, I think we'll start pushing those here. Now that the weather hopefully starts warming up, we'll start pushing those. Camping Creek wants to know what you're saving up for, Taylor, with the money you're making.
I'm putting in a bank account and I'm saving up for like car insurance because I can get my permit test in this December. So I'm really starting to save. I have a babysitting job this summer, so I'll make good money with that too.
Yeah, so she's trying to babysit. She's working in the yard. She spends a little money. She does like to spend a little bit once in a while, but she is saving some as well. Car insurance. She's gonna have to be putting gasoline in a car here soon. So it's time to start thinking about those things for her and to try to help her prepare for that. So she's not going to find another job where she can set her own hours, work as short or as long as she wants to, and make the amount of money that she can possibly make. What do I pay them $10 for every third of a cord they stack. They can normally do about 2 of those an hour if they work. So $20 an hour job, she's not going to find a $20 an hour job anywhere around here. So, and I think, bless you.
Thank you.
And I think if they're working for me, it's a lot less for me to worry about as well. Hey, there's Joe. Joe's Firewood videos. Michigan made it to the Frozen Four in hockey today. Today was opening day for Major League Baseball, and I know the Orioles are not a very popular or talented team normally, but they did get a win today. Adley Rutschman, one of our newest players, first pitch home run over the right field wall. I don't know if Craig Wilson's in here or not, or if that Cardinals game is over yet, but he was super excited about the Cardinals today. The last I looked, I think they were winning 7-6 in the 8th inning. So that game should be over, but I'm not sure how it turned out. Bob Fitch, he lives like an hour away from Boonville. It's a great show, and he goes every year. Well, hopefully I'll meet you this year. We'll see you there. Yes, Easton Made is coming out with a smaller firewood processor. The firewood processor they're using, I'm pretty sure, is on just about the same frame. It's got a little smaller saw blade, and I think obviously a smaller motor, but it's very similar in looks to the larger ones. So That will be neat. John Edwards wants to know, what is my most memorable challenge coin? I think my most memorable would be I got to ride when I was on the motorcycle unit. I got to ride alongside the LAPD. They were here for a cops ride. It's like a ride that supports fallen police officers. And guy came up, shook my hand, and handed me an LAPD motorcycle unit coin. So that's a pretty large unit in California, and it was pretty cool to get that coin. James, is the Firewood at the Furnace logo a watermark on the screen or a poster on the wall? Nope, that is a watermark on the screen. I think I can put that on and take that off. Yep, there you go. Now it's gone. But yeah, that's just something that StreamYard allows you to do. That's the platform that I use for these live streams. I just lost my spot in the chat. Aunt Miriam's here. She just subscribed to the channel today. I met her a few weeks ago, a month or so ago. So welcome her to the live stream. Yeah, Taylor was on the live stream today. I see Jack saying it was lunchtime for her.
Yeah, I had my AirPods in at lunch, and I got a notification that he went live.
Yeah, I'm live from the Woodyard during the school day, and this one over here is chiming in the chat. I'm like, you're supposed to be learning something. What's your dream car, Taylor?
A white Jeep Grand Cherokee with black wheels. When I was little, I was like 5. My dream car was a minivan.
So a Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Yep.
Deb, how are you, Deb? Good to see you here. I was glad to see you earlier today on the live that we did from the yard. All right, so I'm going to try to get caught up here, and I got something that I want to talk about and see what everybody's opinion is. John has a question. What size would you make cherry for smoker wood bags? So a lot of the people that smoke meats like their wood split a little bit smaller. I don't split on the great big side anyway. Most of the wood that I split is easily handled with one hand. Maybe like 4x4 at the biggest, but maybe like 2x2, 2x3, something like that, I think is a good size for the guys that are doing the smoking. WD's rolling out. He's heading out a little early, wishing you all have the great rest of the night. Well, Will, I'm glad you stopped by. You're going to have to make a trip up here again soon. Jack and I were talking about you today, thinking we need to get back together at some point. So let us know what works for you, and I'll try to let you know what works for me. It's coming up on a really busy time of the year with ball kicking off, but I'm sure we can work something out. Bill with a super chat. Cheers and welcome springtime. I totally agree with that. I'm ready for spring. Here in Maryland, I think February was a little bit warmer than it's been this March. But next week, it looks like we're going to get into some 70-degree days. I did already cut my grass once. We came home from the campground on Sunday afternoon, and a lot of the neighbors had cut their yards. So, you know, when your neighbor cuts their grass, you've got 48 hours to get yours cut. That's kind of like the joke here. But it needed it. Some of the wild stuff was getting pretty high. Everything's not growing yet, but yeah, it was time to get it cut. So thank you, Bill, for that. Cheers, my friend. I don't know if I took a sip yet, but I'll take another one for you. Hey, there's frickin' Jeep right there, and that's going to lead into my next topic. He just got on, and here we work till dark. Yeah, it's getting dark a little later now, but anyway, a couple weeks ago, I put a video out, and I was cutting some wood, and I had switched over to the 25-inch bar from the 32-inch bar that I normally run on the 500i. And I made a comment in the video that it seemed like the saw was turning faster, that the the chain was running faster. Well, my buddy John here commented and said that the chain turns at the same speed. It's just a shorter bar. So he's mentioned that this might be a good topic for the live stream. So I'm bringing it up to everybody right now, and I want to know what your opinion is on that. I agree that the motor turns at a certain RPM, but I think with the shorter bar, it doesn't slow down as much in the wood because it doesn't have as much chain/weight to turn. So I think the chain turns faster in the wood. Maybe not necessarily the saw turning it, the motor's making more RPMs, but with the shorter bar, it's turning faster. So what does everybody think? We're gonna go down a rabbit hole here, I think. Deb wants to thank everyone for the orders of Chuck's Memorial cups, shirts, and jackets. Absolutely. If you didn't know about that and you want to order something, go to backspingraphics.com, I believe it is. Somebody can put that link in the chat, but I'll put this on the bottom of the screen here. I think this link is still good. So that is the website you would go to. That's at least the link to the stickers, but I'm not sure about the shirts, but I know they're all there on Backspin Graphics website. The chat just totally jumped ahead on me, so I apologize if I'm missing a question. Please put it back in there. Did you see anything I missed, Tay?
No, I haven't seen any questions.
Donald Slate says, I am correct on my thinking with the saw. Ken says, but the longer chain lasts longer between sharpening. That's another good question. I'm not sure about that either, but I will tell you it takes a lot longer to sharpen. That 32-inch bar is, I make my mark on one of the teeth, and I'm sharpening and sharpening and sharpening, and I keep looking down the saw to find out when that mark's coming up, and it just seems like it takes forever. Bob Fitch says short bar, less resistance. Jack says a smaller bar goes faster. I haven't seen John chime in here yet. TC's Outdoor said he had seen that the shorter bar and chain is less resistance, and that keeps the chain speed up. That makes sense. Yep. Eric, it's like putting a larger or small wheel on your truck. It turns at different speeds, changing the gearing, so to speak. All right.
It looks like you're caught up.
I'm not caught up. It's just refreshing.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you.
I am caught up now. Awesome. Heath says, practice is done. Time to drive. Headed out to dinner to celebrate a few real estate closings for Rachel. Well, congratulations to Rachel. Valerie has had a pretty good couple of weeks here too. I don't know. Everybody keeps saying that the market is going to drastically change this year. So hopefully things keep moving at least at a steady pace for Val and for Rachel. So have a great dinner if you can't stick around. And right now we are going to do Taylor's honors for those of you that have stuck around. We are lighting candles. This is my mother's famous pound cake that Taylor loves.
Amazing. That's what I picked to be my birthday cake.
This is what she picks to be her birthday cake every year. And this is a piece that's left from her birthday the other night. So I am not going to sing on this live stream, but I did want to light a candle. And although you all have already wished Taylor a happy birthday, I would like to make it official. Happy birthday to my beautiful daughter. She's 15 years old, growing up. And thank you all for giving her the well wishes. So, here's John. You have to take friction out of the equation. Now, he's talking about the saw bar there. Roy Wood I drove by the wood yard on Sunday after visiting the parents in Bel Air. Your stacks look awesome from the highway. Well, thank you. That's part of the reason why I stack. It's not the sole reason. Out there in the middle of that field with the sun on it, the wind blows across that field every single day, and certainly expedites the drying process. But the fact that everything looks good when it's stacked up neatly is appealing as well. So sorry I wasn't there. If you ever see me down there and you drive by, you're more than welcome to stop in. Some people I've talked to have seen me there before and weren't sure if it would be okay to stop in. If I'm there, stop on by, and I might put a saw in your hand or something. You never know. Yes, they do grow up fast for sure. Mike Lewis, did you fix the ruts in your yard yet from the frenzy? Thanks to Shive for pulling me out. I did not fix them yet, but I'm digging out for a shed that I'm putting in the yard there behind my mom's shed, and I'm going to use that to store a lot of my tools to be able to get the bundler inside. I'm going to put a little workbench in there with a toolbox so I can sharpen my saws when I'm there. And I had to dig out some of the yard and some topsoil to form up and pour a concrete pad for the shed. So I did save that topsoil. It's in the back of one of my dump trailers right now, and that's what I'm going to be using to fix those ruts. Now that spring is almost here, I get that fixed up and get the yard rolled out so that we can start cutting grass here soon. So yes, those big old ruts are still there in the yard. James says that the longer chain only stays sharper longer if you don't hit anything. Yeah, rocks, metal, concrete. That's for sure. Taylor, Dad's beard is getting gray. Have you caused any of that?
No.
I don't know about that. The job might have caused some of that for sure, but the kids growing up is not an easy job either. Tim Stout, did you find that the black birch dried relatively quickly? Yes, it did. I might actually burn some of that in the next couple of weeks at the campground. I'm going to take some of that down with me. I've already taken some ash down there that was obviously ready to burn, but I'm going to take a little bit of that black birch. I don't have much of it, so I've kind of been hoarding it a little bit. But yeah, I'm going to try to burn some of that here soon. But yes, it did dry pretty quickly, and if it burns as hot as oak, like they say, then it definitely dries a lot quicker than oak does, for sure. Eric wants to know how many cords are in the yard. Full cords, full firewood cords right now, close to 40. But by the end of April, I want to be over 50. So that's the goal for right now. And the more ash and cherry I get, the more cutting I can do. That kind of stuff will most likely be ready by fall. Ash can be ready in a month or two after it's split and stacked. Cherry, 5 or 6 months, it's normally good to go, stacked out in that field. William Klein's heading out. Take care, buddy. Have a good night. Yes, the concrete is poured for the pad for the shed. I actually have to go over tomorrow and strip the concrete forms off of that. We'll give that a few more days to cure up before we try to move the shed and set the shed on that pad. But it won't be long, and it'll be there. So the concrete was poured a couple days ago, 2 days ago. Lots of wood's been coming into the yard. I haven't showed all of it on the channel, but I think I've got probably 4 or 5 loads of cherry laying there. There's a big load of ash laying there. There's some maple laying there, and there's going to be some more cherry and mulberry coming next week. So this digging out for this concrete pad and pouring this concrete and Taylor's softball schedule has kind of slowed me up, but this weekend is going to be busy. I'm going to be cutting all weekend long for sure. And then once I get the rounds staged and stacked up near the splitter, I can get Val over there and turn her loose. it's nice that she is proficient with that machine now, that I can cut and she can split. Things go so much quicker with extra hands. Oh, the truck stories. I did mention the truck stories. That's on my list to get here too. But I had a little scare with Big D the other day. About 2 weeks ago, I was driving the truck and I got out and I thought I smelled a whiff of gear oil. And gear oil is a very distinctive smell, if you know what that smells like. So I kind of walked around the truck. I looked underneath. I didn't see anything leaking. I couldn't really pinpoint the smell where it was coming from. So I kind of blew it off. Well, 3 or 4 days ago, I was hauling a load of cherry logs from one of the tree service jobs. And I got back to the yard to dump, and I got out and I looked and I saw smoke coming out from underneath my wheel well. Well, when I saw that, I remembered the day that Will Davidson was here and we hauled that great big oversized load. I had too much on the trailer that day. I'd mentioned that I normally don't haul loads that big. But I'd mentioned that I saw smoke coming out of my wheel well on that day also, and I wrote it off as the brakes getting hot. Well, on this occasion, I saw the smoke and I smelled that gear oil smell again. So I thought to myself, this isn't good. I got down on the ground, crawled underneath the truck, and didn't see anything leaking, but I saw a little bit of film of oil on the inside of the rear brake caliper. So I knew right away that I had a wheel seal leaking. And I called the parts store. They had the part in stock. Went and picked it up, immediately took it back to the garage and pulled the wheels off, pulled the brake caliper off, pulled the hub off. And when I pulled the hub off, the wheel seal was in 3 pieces. The outer metal piece was there, the rubber piece, the inside rubber piece of the seal, and then the main part of the seal was still in the hub. So now I'm worried about the bearings, and I pulled the bearings out and they were still fully saturated with oil. I pulled them out, turned them, listened to them. Everything was good there. So I put the new seal in, put everything back together, topped the differential off with gear oil, and so far everything's good. But that could have been a really big disaster. Kind of scared me a little bit because I didn't know how long that had been leaking, because the more I was thinking back, the more small signals I had gotten that something was going on there that I had kind of just brushed off. So that's the story with the truck. Jack says he was counting my empty spots today, and I'll be at 50 cords soon. Yeah, if we get all that wood cut that's laying there, we're going to be real close to 50. I think there's probably 6 or 7 cords laying there by the time we get it all processed. Do I ever get black or honey locust? I do get black locust a good bit. I got some of that a few weeks ago. Honey locust, not too often, and that stuff's, man, they got some big old thorns on that honey locust. That'll tear you up. But I don't see a whole lot of honey locust around here, but we do have a good bit of black locust. Dan, how are you doing? I don't know if you just got here, but I see you're saying hello. So he's saying hello to you as well, Taylor.
Hi.
Yeah, Shive has a truck story also. His is a little bit more serious than mine. So I'll leave that up to him. I don't know if he's going to go live this Sunday night, but if he does, I'm sure he will tell that story. But I talked to him a couple times this week, and it's not sounding too good. Camping Creek, what is the most snow you had on the ground at once this year? In North Wisconsin, we still have 2 to 3 feet.
0.3 inches.
We had a dusting. That was all we had this year. Very, very low and unusual snowfall here in Maryland this year. We normally get, a lot of storms with mixes, snow, sleet, freezing rain, a lot of stuff like that off and on throughout the whole winter. And we normally have 1 or 2 decent snows. We may get 6, 8, 10, 12 inches. But this year, basically nothing. Pretty mild winter. We had a real cold snap for about a week. It was in the single digits around Christmas time. But other than that, it's been pretty mild here.
I'm going to go inside because I have to get my stuff ready for tomorrow.
All right, babe. Taylor's heading out. Thank you for being out here with me tonight, and happy birthday again.
Thanks.
Savage Firewood, thank you. I appreciate that. You're part of that celebration for being here and part of this journey with us. Bill Hobie, did Hardworking Man's live stream of 4 hours 11 minutes the other day beat your live when Andrew was on a few months ago? I'm trying to remember how long my live stream went. I'd have to look back on that. I'm not sure, but yeah, that was a long one. And I was at the campground, so I wasn't able to jump on there. We were doing stuff at the campground with the family, but I'm gonna have to look back and see. I'm not even interested in trying to top that live stream again. That was a long one. I couldn't believe everybody hung out that night. Oh, Shive just told everybody the transmission went out on the heavy Chevy. Yeah, that really stinks, buddy. I'm sorry that happened, but I hope you get it back up and going again here soon. But he just let the cat out of the bag there. Dell's here in the backyard with Dell. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you stopping by. Outdoors in the 608 stopping in. He just got in from splitting. Yep. Long hours of daylight late into the day has made for some extra time to do work outside for sure. I hope we don't change the time anymore. I know they talk about it every year, but I really wish they would just leave the time alone. Leave it the way it is right now. I know the days aren't longer, but it gets dark later. I wish they would just leave it and not mess with it at all. I don't really think it serves a purpose anymore. Maybe back in the day it did, but I really don't know what advantage there is to that this year or this day and age. Hey, super chat from the Moon Man 4. So I can make you drink for only a 10 spot. Looking forward to meeting you, and happy birthday, Taylor. Yep, I drink. You can make me drink for less than a 10 spot, but I certainly appreciate that. Thank you, and cheers. We're just about empty here, so we'll be topping off that shortly. Brad 6 says the Chevy Trans just don't hold up. I don't know what they are doing. Well, yeah, I mean, it's always a scary situation when you're hauling heavy loads or big loads. I think about it all the time when I'm pulling the dump trailer with the wood in the back. Try not to push it too hard. Try not to heat it up. Yeah, but it's something that's in the back of my mind a lot, because when you're doing that kind of work with them, things are gonna happen. James said my live stream was 3 hours and 50 minutes. So yes, Heath's live stream did in fact beat that. So if there is a title or a trophy to be held for the longest live stream, then I guess the Hardworking Man holds that title at this point. Shad, it says this thing won't let me super chat. Don't worry about that, buddy. I don't do this for that. I appreciate it when people do help out, but I just enjoy chatting with everybody and seeing what everybody's up to, answering any questions. If any of us are able to help each other out, then that's what this is all about. There's Mountaintop Outdoors. What's up, Jeff? Hope you're having a good night. Speaking of Mountaintop Outdoors, I'm sure most of you know by now, but he has finally started his own YouTube channel. Jeff and Patty, check out Mountaintop Outdoors and give them a subscribe. Give them a little love. Give them a boost. They're got a beautiful overlook around some mountains where they're at, and they're just getting started with their YouTube journey. So Jeff and Patty are both great people. Good hearts. So head on over there if you don't know about that. Yes, Chuck and Deb's road trip was definitely longer than 4 hours. They were driving back from Michigan when he was out there for his work trip, and coming back from Joe Barney's out there at Joe's Premium Firewood, and they were live the entire drive home. So I think you're right. they do hold the record for the longest live stream. So sorry, Heath, I misspoke there. Joe Dodge, Firewood from the Sawmill. Brad, you should get the NV 4500 6-speed manual with a dual plate clutch put in your truck. It will then haul anything you hitch up to it. Well, I'm hoping I don't have to put anything in my truck. It's just turned over 60,000 miles. It's almost 20 years old, but it's got low mileage on it, so I'm hoping it holds up for a while. I certainly don't want to buy a new truck. There's Shibe. He gave you the link there to Jeff and Patty's channel. You're welcome, Jeff and Patty. You guys are awesome. You certainly helped me out, and I don't mind helping anybody out. Peyton's Firewood has a question here. Is it pointless to buy a 462 if you can get a 500i? I mean, if you want my personal opinion, I would say yes, it's pointless. But the price difference, I don't think is that much. And but I do think the 462 and the 500i are probably comparable saws. The 500i has newer technology. So depending on what kind of deal you're getting, if I had the choice, I would certainly go with the 500i. Hey, there's Dan. So with a super chat, crap, I'm late. Good evening, Nate, and all you Woodhounds. Cheers, Dan. I'm going to finish this off and refill now. I was wondering where you were earlier, buddy. I hadn't seen you pop in. But I know you've been working cleaning up that situation you got going on in your yard with all the limb wood and all the trees you're taking down to make some space. But I'm glad you made it in here, my friend. Jared Reynolds says, I was told if you cut rings around the honey locust, it will kill the tree and the thorns will fall off. I did that 2 springs ago on some in my timber. The bark is falling off, but not the thorns yet. Yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe somebody else in the chat here might be able to give you some more insight on that. But I do know that those honey locust thorns are vicious, absolutely vicious. They're huge. Joe or Patty, Joe's giving you a hard time again. He says he needs to do a repair on his Ultra and he might live stream it so Patty can learn how to fix theirs. She learned how to run the Ultra from watching him. Yeah, they got a little bit of a banter going back and forth, which is all in good fun about who runs the Ultra better. But we'll see about that. I don't know what kind of, I didn't catch the repair you got to make to that Ultra, Joe. I have to go back and check out what happened there. Richard, how you doing, buddy? I went to the open house at the steel dealership here yesterday and got a brand new steel hat. Well, congratulations. You can certainly wear that with pride. All right, I'm all caught up. Let me see what else I forgot to talk about here. I wanted to remind everybody, if you're not caught up with Joe from Ohio Woodburner, that he's getting ready to move everything over to the new wood yard here soon. But he is having his open house on Saturday, April 29th from, I believe he said 10 a.m. to around 3 p.m. I don't know if that's going to start earlier or go later. Depending on how many people show up, he may be in for a surprise like I was when I had my open house. But his new property there that he's going to be moving his operation to is awesome. And it's certainly going to step up his game a lot. He's trying to clean up and get what he's got left in his old yard processed before he can move all the equipment and machines over to the new spot. But if anybody's planning on making that trip, let me know, because I'm still kind of on the fence. I want to go, but it's kind of a tough time of the year with the kids' ball schedules. If both kids aren't playing that weekend, I might be able to make it. If both kids are playing that weekend, it's going to be kind of tough because they are always going different directions. So I'm hoping, and I know, So Ken says him and Danny will be there from York Firewood, and Shibe's hoping he can make it. So it'll be a good time. Joe said to bring your gloves. He's going to put you to work. Going to have plenty of wood to stack. But I would like to get out there to see that that processor, his run, the 405. I did see one at the Paul Bunyan show, and it was pretty sweet, but I didn't get to put my hands on it. I don't know if Joe's going to let anybody put their hands on his equipment, but it'd be cool to see it run again anyway. I did not see the wind damage at Ohio Woodburner today. I haven't caught up with. I'm not that caught up with him yet. I have to sit down and watch that. I hope everything's okay there. I did see that the canopy over his, whatever that's called, I forget what the name of those are, that garage with the canvas over top of it. I did see that got a little torn up in his thumbnail, but I haven't watched that video yet. Mountaintop Outdoors, Jeff and Patty, they don't know if they're going to make it yet. So I think everybody wants to be there. It's just a matter of making it happen. So, but anyway, the hoop house, that's what it's called. Yes, John. The hoop house is gone. Oh man, that's terrible. So that was already on the property before he got there. So I don't think that belongs to him, but I'm pretty sure it was something that he was going to be able to use. So it's still kind of sad, and it's obviously sad for the owner of it. Firewood Hut says he's going to be there. I wonder if anyone is bringing their own splitter. I haven't heard any announcements about that. If he's going to have people bring other equipment. When I did mine, I didn't really have that in mind either. But as people started reaching out to me and emailing me and offering to bring stuff, it just turned out to be a really, really good thing with all the different machines that we were able to have there and let people run. We're going to do that again. I mean, I'll just come right out and say it now. We're going to do that again next year, the fellowship day. There's just some things I got to work out as far as parking and stuff goes, depending on what the weather is. Daniel Atkins, how are you, buddy? I didn't see you in the chat here. He says he won't be able to make it. However, he will be 5 hours closer than normal at another Firewood event. John Edwards is heading out. He said he's got to get up at 1 a.m. to drive into Nashville. Well, get some sleep, buddy. Get some rest, and I hope you have a safe drive. Thanks for being here, and have a good night. Moonman says, yours was epic. Only watched the video, but hell yeah. Yeah, that thing, we've kind of talked about that a lot right after it happened, but certainly surprise. All the people that showed up and all the fun we had, the weather worked out great. Question from Camp and Creek, do you see yourself in the future buying wood? Well, as long as this deal that I have with the tree service right there keeps going the way it's going, I shouldn't have to purchase any wood. He pretty much knows what I like and doesn't call me for junky stuff. And depending on what my production looks like, if I can get to a point where he's not supplying me as quick as I can process it, then that might be something that I'll think about, but I don't see that happening anytime soon because he keeps me pretty filled up all the time. So hopefully I don't have to buy wood. If I ever had a processor or something like that where you need certain diameter logs, you need straight stuff, and then that would be a different story. You'd want to buy poles like Jeff and Patty do up there. But for what I'm doing now, bucking with a saw and run them through the 1222, I don't think I'll be buying any logs. So Jeff and Patty, I think, are in Massachusetts for the show with Andrew and the Easton Made crew. So if you're up in that area, I haven't heard much about that show. I don't know if it's a fairly new show or what, but I know Andrew said that he thought he was going to be the only wood splitter company there. So that may be a show to watch if it's getting bigger every year. John has a question. I think the hoop house can be fixed, but smaller. Extra top can be tarps for firewood. Well, I hope he can fix it up. I'm going to have to check that video out. I don't know if they had a storm go through or what. Yes, thank you, Deb. If everybody could hit the thumbs up, that would be great. We're a little bit into overtime here. I'm not going to go super late tonight because they're calling for some rain here tomorrow afternoon, and I've got some work to do in the yard. Like I said, I got to take those concrete forms off the pad for the shed, and I want to try to get at least one load of logs bucked up tomorrow. So I'm going to have even though Friday's supposed to be my day off, I'm going to have a fairly early morning tomorrow morning getting going with the day, hopefully before the rain gets here. Bill Irwin, Brad with the box wedge, do you have to resplit for bundles or does that size work? That kind of depends. Depending on what wood you put through it and how well it goes through, sometimes you get a little bigger pieces. But a lot of times if you keep that box wedge at the lowest position, it makes decent size wood for bundles. They do make the pizza box wedge for that, and it splits a little bit smaller. And I think Shive is actually getting one of those. So I'm curious to see how that looks. But the bundles that I've been making for so far this year, I haven't even used any wood coming off the 1222 or out of the box wedge. I've been using the wood out of all those totes that we filled up at the fellowship that came off of Ken's Axis. York Firewood brought his Axis, and they filled up 6 or 8, maybe 9 or 10 totes of firewood, and they split that pretty good size for bundle wood. So that's what I've been making my bundles with. It's all ash, and so I haven't really ran into that problem yet to see if it's going to work out for bundles. But the pizza box wedge will certainly do smaller stuff for bundle wood. Andy wants to know, what's junk wood in your area? Well, junk wood to me is not junk wood to everybody. And if Jack's still in here, he can attest to this because he sees some of the stuff that I toss aside. If it's got a crotch in it, if it's got a nasty bend in it, if it's just gnarly looking, I really just don't deal with it. I cut that piece out of the log, put it aside, and cut the nicer stuff out. I will put some stuff aside for boiler wood. I will split. I don't split real ugly stuff. Gum. If I get any gum, I don't get any gum because I don't deal with that either. It splits horrible. It's all intertwined grain, and it makes for ugly firewood. Gum will burn good once it's dry and seasoned. It's good firewood. It's just a miserable thing to split. So that's what I consider junk wood. Terry said the best part of the fellowship in the wood yard was when you seen the new conveyor. Well, I honestly, 100% when that pulled in, had no concept that was mine. I knew he was traveling south, so I figured he was just taking it to a customer that had ordered it. When he asked me where he wanted him to unhook it, I really not at a loss for words very often. I'm normally pretty quick on the draw with my verbal judo, but he had me speechless that day. That was pretty wild. Jake and Chris will be at the show at Joe's, an Ohio wood burner from Dude Ranch DIY, so that'll be cool if they are making that trip. Hello again, everyone from Walcott Family Works. I guess they stepped out and they're jumping back in here. So welcome back. Rob, I don't know if there's a site that tracks all the various shows. He says he seems to find out too late to attend. I'll tell you the two big ones that I know about are Boonville in New York, which is in August, and the Paul Bunyan Show in Ohio. So those are the two that Paul Bunyan Show last year was absolutely awesome. So if you're able to make that one, that would be a good one to try out. Savage Firewood's checking out. Good night, everyone from Ontario, Canada. I'm glad you joined us. Have a great night, my friend. Greg, you are absolutely correct. The Axis is a slicing, dicing, bundle making machine for sure. Yep, precision firewood with that thing. Peyton's Firewood has a question. What do you like to collect other than firewood? Oh, well, this might be a good question for Valerie because she says that I have a lot of people have addictions of some kind, whether they're good addictions or bad addictions. And my addiction is hobbies. And I bounce around from hobby to hobby. I enjoy fishing. So I got on a huge fishing kick for a while and was buying fishing poles and lures out the wazoo. I enjoy motorcycles. So I was basically collecting motorcycles for a while. I've got 4 sitting in the garage right now. At one point I had 5. So that I still enjoy riding motorcycles, but my motorcycle buying days are over. I enjoy shooting, so I collect firearms. I won't get too far into detail with that, but there's a large collection of those here in the house. So it's kind of like whatever I'm into at the time. Firewood has definitely been more than a hobby for me. It's been a mental therapy for me. It's been a fitness program for me. It's been a friendship and camaraderie program for me. So firewood is a little different than all the other things. But that was a good question. I hope I answered it the best way I could. Willow is junk. I agree. Andy says I'm picky. Junk wood here is rotten, cottonwood, poplar, and my love-hate relationship with box elder. Yeah, poplar, there's a lot of poplar around me. And even though poplar is considered a hardwood, it burns like paper. It dries really quick. It's normally splits pretty well. It's a fast-growing tree, so they're normally pretty straight. If they're in the woods growing and they're fighting for daylight and fighting to get up in that canopy because they're such a fast-growing tree, they normally grow pretty straight and quick. It's not bad. I'll mix it in with some bundlewood here and there, but I try not to get too much of the poplar. But James says Eastamade has all of the shows they will be at on their website. That would be a good place to start. Absolutely. There you go. Thank you, James, for putting that in there. I did not know that. I'm going to check that out myself. Do I have my hotel room booked for Paul Bunyan Show this year? 100%, absolutely. I'm staying at the same place that we did last year, the Fairfield Inn, and I think a lot of us are staying at that same hotel. So, yep, my room is booked. I will definitely be there. Joe's right. My early videos were all about the big, nasty, gnarly junk wood, but you learned real fast. More work than worth. Yep, I agree. I mean, if that's all you can get, when I was first starting out, that's why I was getting it. I was just taking whatever I could. But you learn to work smarter, not harder, if you have the option. If you don't have the option, you take what you can get. That's what you do. But if I don't have to deal with that, I don't. Tony booked his hotel for Paul Bunyan last week, so he will be there as well. I have a feeling it seems like every month this comes up on the live stream about the shows coming up. And if last year's Paul Bunyan show is any indication of what this year's Paul Bunyan show is going to be like, it's going to be quite a good time, because I think a lot of you that watched us last year at Paul Bunyan were wishing you were there. And you did. You missed a great time. So if you can make it this year, it'll be just as much fun, if not more. John's trying to get the same spot at the Paul Bunyan show again this year. Hasn't heard back from them yet. Still hoping that they come through. So John's booth was right up there in the back by the pavilion where the Morgans did their meet and greet. And it was kind of a good spot, kind of out of the way, not in the middle of everything that was going on. But if you went up, the good thing about where he was is that if you went up to his spot, it was a great spot to meet and to talk and to have conversation and not be overwhelmed with the people. Yeah, I think Jack is going to the Paul Bunyan show. Yep, I think he's at the same hotel as well. That's going to be awesome to have him there. You all need to meet Jack. He's a great guy. I'm glad we finally hooked up since he was so close. Yeah, old guy says poplar's a fine mix in the bundles. I agree. It's great to get the fire started. It does burn hot, but it burns really fast. Question here from Camping Creek: what is my favorite round? Firewood round, I would say, I don't know. I mean, there's things that it's kind of like the good and the bad for all of them. Red oak splits really, really nice, but it takes forever to dry. Some people like the smell of oak. Some people hate the smell of oak. I don't mind it. I love the smell of cherry, and if you get a good straight piece of cherry, it splits really well. It dries quickly. So I would have to say it's probably between cherry and oak. Peyton's Firewood says he had his land timbered 5 years ago, and poplar yielded him the highest value per board foot. Yeah, if you're going to send it to the mill will certainly take the poplar. It grows big, straight, and makes some really good saw logs. Yep, Bill agrees. Right below that. Life in the 906 has time off for Paul Bunyan this year. I don't know anybody that didn't have a good time at Paul Bunyan last year. If you didn't have fun at Paul Bunyan, then you were in the wrong spot, because it was a great time. I'm not sure if the show was better. Well, I do know the show was great, but the camaraderie and the people that you got to meet and hang out with was definitely the highlight of the show. Dick's heading out. He's got a call tonight. It is getting a little late. Have a great night, my friend. Thanks for stopping in. Trav Billy is heading out from Mill Locks, Minnesota. Well, I can't really see your profile picture there, but I can't tell what bike you're on, but it looks like you're a rider. Have a safe night, and thanks for joining us here. Okay. Did I miss the boat on that one? You guys are probably laughing at me. If you were talking about that round, the 308 is a great round, Jack. I'm more of a handgun guy than a long gun guy. If we're talking about long guns, I would probably the 308. If we're talking about short, I got to be careful what I'm saying here. I don't want to get flagged. If we're talking about short ones, I would have to say the 9, because it's affordable, it's available, and the ballistics are about the same as a 40. So I guess it kind of went over my head when you asked me what my favorite round was. Sorry about that. 45 is a great round also, but it's very expensive. 30-06 is a good round. Yep. All right. I'm all caught up here in the chat, and we are almost an hour and a half into this thing. I think I've covered all the things that I wanted to talk about. Let me see here. We do have to do the trivia question. I'm glad I checked. Glad I checked the list. We got to do the trivia question for the Firewood at the Furnace whiskey glass. Nobody reminded me. Did you all forget about that too? Anyway, you get your choice of the whiskey glass. Let me show you for those of you that are new here. Let me pull it up. You have your choice of the whiskey glass. You can pick the beer mug if you win, or you can pick a set of 2 shot glasses. So that's your choices of the prize if you win. And the way you win is by answering a trivia question from one of our, something you would know from one of our videos in the past month. And the question tonight is, you all know I got a new to me dump trailer that is identical to the one that I already had. And the question is, what year are the dump trailers? So the first one in the chat that has the correct answer will be the winner. What year are the dump trailers that I have now? All right. It just refreshed. Let me check it out here. Go back up. First answer was correct, and the first one that came through in my chat was Joe Dodge Firewood from the Sawmill. 2021 is the correct answer. So let's see what all the other answers were. Jack answered twice, 2019, 2021. They're both 2021s. So, there's another question mixed in there. I don't have any 3-drop glasses there, John. But I do have the official Back 40 drink mixing set. If you didn't see that, that's the official Back 40 Firewood drink mixing set. You fill your glass up with whatever soda you like, and you put 3 drops of your favorite alcohol, and that's how you mix it Back 40 style. That's funny. I just happen to still have that sitting here there, John. All right, so Joe Dodge from the Sawmill. Let me know what prize you would like. People are, where is the Fairfield Inn for the Bunyan Show? Let me look that up real quick because I don't want to tell you the wrong thing, and I can't think of it off the top of my head. I'm looking real quick here. Does anybody know? You can put it in the chat there. Cambridge, yes, that's it. Cambridge, Ohio. Thank you, Jack. So it's Cambridge, Ohio, Fairfield Inn. It's about, 15, 18 minutes away from the show. It's not a bad drive at all. The staff at that hotel was very, very awesome with us last year when Dan from Back 40 did his Friday night live stream right from the lobby. Absolutely no problems at all. So we're going back there again. Andy, I'm not sure how far apart serial numbers are. I'm going to have to check that out. I thought about that right after I bought it, and I haven't checked. But they got to be really, really close. All right, there he is. He's picking his prize. He'll take the shot glass. You get 2 of them. I'll send you 2 shot glasses. He doesn't drink, but he collects them. I'll email you when the stream is over. All right, firewood@thefurnace@gmail.com. I'll be looking for that email, and I will get them out to you. And we are going to wrap it up for the night. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate the super chats. I appreciate the moderators, even though it didn't seem like we had any problems this year or this month. And I want to thank each and every one of you for being here and being part of the stream tonight. We will do it again next month on the last Thursday of the month at 8 p.m. At the end of April, And that's going to be it. So one more question here. How convenient is the second trailer? I have absolutely been using the heck out of both trailers. Having, like right now, I've got one full of topsoil that I dug out from the yard that I'm going to use to fill the ruts, and I still have one available for firewood. So definitely a good purchase as far as I'm concerned, and I'm glad I did it. So have a great night, everybody, and we will see you on Wednesday's video. And don't forget about First Fridays. It'll be this next week coming up as well. Have a great night.